Hi, I'm Emily Hargrove and welcome to a brand new season of Prime. I am very excited to be here today. A lot has been happening since I last saw you. I no longer have my baby bump. I gave birth to my beautiful baby daughter Aubrey in early February, and she is bringing a lot of joy and a couple of sleepless nights to our lives, but it is a true blessing to have. But Prime, we are back. And today on our first show, we have got a really amazing show. First, we go one-on-one with legendary actor Val Kilmer. And then we talk with Christine Allison of D Magazine Partners about the big read Dallas. And then later on, we meet three very talented people who will be taking part in Etsy Dallas's Spring Bash. But first, let's talk about Val Kilmer. He joined us in the studio to tell us all about Citizen Twain, his one-man show about the legend Mark Twain. Let's take a look.
I can state at this moment that there are only two authors who are most remarkable. Rudyard Kipling is one. Oh, it must be in Los Angeles. Rudyard Kipling is one. And I am the other one. Yes. Between us, we cover all knowledge. Rudyard knows all that can be known, and I know the rest.
We are so excited to welcome Val Kilmer to the studio to talk to us all about Citizen Twain. Val, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you.
So Citizen Twain is really taking off. It has, I believe that you've had a lot of great response from your one-man show. So tell us about it. Well,
it's a comedy, and that's kind of nerve-wracking while you're writing, because you just imagine. I mean, I was telling you before we started, there's still jokes that I've been reading for 10 years that are still making me laugh out loud. But you never really know until you put it all together and the audiences are enjoying it. So it's a big relief, and I'm really happy to finally start touring it.
Well, that's really, because you oscillate between humor, being humorous and deeply philosophical, which is what the soul of Mark Twain was, by all accounts. And so how do you balance such a fine line between those two?
Well, just a lot of experimentation with what you imagine the audience can enjoy, just some complicated thoughts. That he was such a deep thinker, but at the same time, he'd do a pratfall if it got him a laugh. And he's actually the first stand-up. He was the first guy in America, anyway, to just stand up and talk on stage like he did at home. And he smoked constantly, so he usually had a cigar in his hand. And if he was drinking that night, he'd just bring a drink on stage. And so even the most casual things that we would think of today, which is kind of common image with stand-ups, was a very radical thing when he started off. And just speaking in his own vernacular and style, there was if you were a preacher or a teacher or a politician, there was a style that still today you can hear lingering memories of for no real reason. A lot of newscasters have a particular cadence that all came from a taught style about communication, and he just didn't care about any of it. So he was immediately accessible, and the stories that he told right when he started off were still what make him great today. That they're just really great love stories about our madness and our lunacy, and they're presented in such a humorous way that you could sort of get caught suddenly think, oh, I don't really think that way, but I was just enjoying someone else's point of view. And
right.
He has a way of getting across a serious point, and you don't mind it.
So one of the clips that I saw was you say, I've given up smoking 2 cigars at once, or more than 1 cigar at a time. But then in terms of drinking, I don't have a rule about that.
Yeah.
So,
What is when he said, this is very, you hear it said a lot, but he's the guy who came up with it. Oh, I've got no problem with addiction. I can quit smoke. I've quit smoking thousands of times. I make one rule about smoking: never to smoke when asleep,
right,
never to refrain when awake.
Right.
You know, it's pretty funny
And
stuff.
so now is that your words, or did he actually say that?
Yeah,
I mean,
those are quotes. Some things I wrote, and they're looking for transitions or paraphrasing ideas that he had, that trying to find a way. He's very hard to edit because he's such a unique voice that there's just not time enough to get into everything that's entertaining about him. But there's no intermission. It's about an hour and 20 minutes, and I'm having a lot of fun. Probably more fun than I've ever had acting.
well, isn't that wonderful?
Yeah.
Because I mean, that's
Just to laugh this much. You know, he laughs a lot. I mean, I laugh. Sometimes I get caught up and laugh myself, and the audience doesn't seem to mind. But you know, he also suffered great tragedies, and there's so many, especially today, where the two things that he really took on about addressing greed and race that haven't left us.
yeah, absolutely.
Every woman knows slavery still exists, and it's not a sort of cute social thing to say. You're not paid as much as men for absolutely no reason.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, when you talk to a man, that he's in some sort of weird, silent agreement here at the company that it's okay.
Yeah.
But it's not okay.
I know, absolutely.
Like any other kind of entrapment or enslavement, and he had a way of addressing these issues that are absolutely fundamental to being an American or being free on our planet, that really made you say, well, okay, I guess time's up.
Yeah,
you know?
well, and I mean, he was, after all, the greatest American storyteller, and that's what. And
I like the phrase that someone told me, but I said, "Can I borrow it?" And they said yes, and now I'm not gonna give him credit anymore. That he's an honorary founding father.
That's a one. Yeah, that's a nice way of looking at it, isn't it? Well, what does he say? I'm not an American. I am the American.
Yeah.
And in terms of his relationship with Mary Baker Eddy, and that to me is fascinating, because you touch on it within your show, but you're developing that for a film.
Yes, I wrote the movie first, and that's really about both of them equally. Although, as I'm attempting to do, it's really a story, a lot of metaphors about America and what it means to be an American. They're both geniuses and self-made. Mm-hmm. Both of them were taken out of school when they were 12 years old. And in Mrs. Eddy's day, in Twain's day, a woman wasn't allowed to be successful in too many vocations, but you could be a writer. And she started a newspaper and a college, and just achievement after achievement. And the way I frame the story is, you know, it's a bit simplistic, but it's a love story in that he's really obsessed with her, but she won't acknowledge him, and he really wants to meet her, and it's a great combination of characters, because she's so serious about her life and about helping people. And he has the same motives, but he's so irreverent. It's just hard for him to sit in a room. If it's a sunny day right now, he would have, waiting around this long, he would have crawled out the window. You know, he's really a true imp. He's the guy that wrote Huckleberry Finn. And that impishness, I try to, you know, I kind of relate to that, and I enjoy that on stage, because the play has a lot of improvisational feel to it. I'm trying to get that across, what his life was like. It's a really warm conversation.
Well, it looks like you really truly capture that, and I think any audience which I would think would be completely enraptured by it. I know that I'm looking forward to coming to see it.
I want to agree with you.
Because yes, it is.
But it sounds better when you say it, enraptured.
Enraptured.
Goes my ascot though. You'll be enraptured.
I love it.
See my play.
Well,
people start clapping and they don't stop.
Well, and that is.
I have to make them stop.
And that is the whole thing about giving me more compliments.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and an hour and 20 minutes of Val Kilmer as Mark Twain.
Oh, I have one thing I want to mention. I want to give away tickets to vets if you're returning from Afghanistan or Iraq.
Wonderful.
Otherwise, you're on your own. Buy a ticket.
So where do they
but
go
if you're returning from war,
Where do they go to find
the
that out?
website's valkilmer.com.
valkilmer.com. Well, go and see it.
And just type in your name and your
where you serve.
information. And that's for here in Dallas at the Wiley Theater.
Wonderful. Well, Val, thank you so much, and good luck with all things Citizen Twain. And I will look forward to seeing the film
thank you.
come out of development.
I hope you see the play and are enraptured.
I will. I intend to be.
Enraptured, you say?
Enraptured.
Enraptured, you say.
Thank you, Val. So during the interview, Val mentioned giving away tickets to the military. If you missed his show in Dallas, he is doing other shows across the country. Go to Val's website, valkilmer.com, to read more about Citizen Twain and find out about upcoming shows across the country. Up next, how you can take part in the Big Read Dallas.